Don't wanna talk about it. I say why not? Don't wanna think about it. I say there's got. Anyway, if you know who sings that or if you know that song, you win a prize. Hopefully everyone's doing well today. This week is flying by. It's almost like the back end of a. It feels like a hangover from like a holiday. Whenever you go on holiday for like a couple weeks, then you have to come back home. That's how I feel. I was exhausted after this weekend. Last week was such a massive week in boxing. Not to mention, I have a real job as well. Not to say that this isn't real, but man, I was exhausted watching all the tape. And we start again, guys. I uploaded Stats Don't Lie video for the Figueroa versus Nick Ball world title fight at 126 pounds this weekend in the UK. I'm going to be going over the Albert Ramirez fight. I'm going to be going over some fights on the undercard. I'm going to be featuring a UFC fight. So we have a lot to do this week. Hopefully everybody's doing well, and we're going to get into this as you guys are tapping in. Let me know how you're doing. Give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, maybe you watch my content and you're like, damn, I didn't even hit that button yet. Please hit that button. Please like this video. Guys, we finally broke a little milestone. I feel like every 3 or 4 months, considering we're still new with our Discord, we're going to be hitting these milestones. So we launched it in August, was our first complete month. August, September, October, November, December, January. So we've had it for half of a year, and we just broke 350 JSB insiders. We launched our Patreon in January, and we just broke 35 Patreons. So whatever one you join, either here on YouTube, get a nice star, get access to myself on social media, or you join on Patreon, you get access to our Discord. So however you can support the channel, it means a lot. It allows me to do this more and more, and working our way up the ladder. We broke 27. We're at 27.4 thousand subs. We broke 10 million views about 3 months ago. So we're growing, and it's thanks to you guys. So I'm going to be bringing up, let's just get into this. And click the link. It's pinned in the comment section. I know a lot of the boys here are already joined, so I thank you. But if you're not, okay. So this is the fight I broke down. It's the first one, and I was torn. You guys know Figueroa is on my no bet list. But you know what? So this is actually a video. They're staring down. Brandon's 5'9". Nick Ball's 5'2". Brandon's 29 years old. Nick Ball's 28 years old. Nick's an undefeated champion. Figueroa is a former champion. Brandon has 2 losses. Both of them are to Stephen Fulton. He also has a draw. He's coming off of a performance against Joet Gonzalez, in which it was kind of hit or miss. But then again, like it's not like Nick Ball's coming off a performance in which people are like, wow, this is the best 126 fighter in the world. Nick Ball's coming off a decision against Sam Goodman, in which one of the judges had it 115 to 113. So all in all, if you want my prediction, watch the video. If you want to talk about it, we can. You might be surprised who I'm taking. That's why I got the Swindler hat on. The Swindler says. And so I also want to mention this is Figueroa's second fight with Coach Manny Robles. His first fight was the Joet fight. This is the second fight. Usually it takes a fighter a couple fights to acclimate to a coaching style. If you're unfamiliar with Nick Ball, this guy is a pressure forward style. He's a swarmer. He's a slugger. He throws his punches from unorthodox angles. He's going to weaponize his cardio, weaponize his pace. He wants to be in the wheelhouse. Doesn't have one-punch knockout power. He's a very stressful guy to deal with. He tends to sometimes go through lulls of output, though. Now, with his opponent, Figueroa, I know a lot of you guys, a lot of the people on YouTube are calling Brandon Figueroa shot. They're saying Brandon Figueroa is done. They're saying Brandon Figueroa is chinny. Well, this is the same Brandon Figueroa who's never been stopped. I don't have we really seen him hurt before? You know what I'm saying? This is the same Brandon Figueroa who averages 70 punches a round regarding output. He's a fun, fan-friendly style of slugger. He's tall, he's long, he wants to fight you in the wheelhouse. And I don't think he's done, man. I watched both Fulton tapes. Granted, his best win was 5 years ago. He's the guy who basically Lewis Neary was undefeated. He beat him and stopped him. He has some big wins. He has wins over Magdaleno, coming off the close win over Joet. And so the I don't think this is I think once again I'm treating this fight exactly how I treated Josh Kelly and Murtazaev. Whenever I see odds one way or the other, I'm gonna find a narrative for myself at least to see if it's really that much. Like, is Figueroa really a 3-1 dog? Or is this closer to 50-50? And if it's closer to 50-50, then I'm going to start thinking about extraneous variables. Like, Figueroa being the bigger guy, Figueroa having a new camp, Figueroa, working to be a world champion again. So if you want to ask me, I think the dogs are barking. I'm actually picking Figueroa to win this fight, to go into the UK and beat Nick Ball. I really have never been impressed with Nick Ball. I think his style, I think it'll mesh well with Figueroa. And I think the Fulton fights, this is what I've done. If you could remove the Fulton performances, because it's not like Stephen Fulton is going to fight like Nick Ball. Figueroa wants you to be near him. Figueroa wants you to be in punching distance. Figueroa wants to be slugging with you in a phone booth. Fulton didn't give him that fight. Think about how amateur Shakur just made Teofimo look. I'm not comparing Shakur to Figueroa and Teofimo. I'm not comparing Shakur to Fulton and Figueroa to Teo. But sometimes in boxing, stylistically, one style, if it's executed at a high level, can make another style look ordinary. So I'm leaning on that. I'm thinking that I don't think Figueroa was shot. It's not like we're talking about a guy who's had to get himself off the canvas time and time again, a guy who's been knocked out time and time again. He's only 29. He's a couple months older than Ball. I've talked myself into it. I'll pull up the odds real quick. And I think of all the dog, like, it's a live dog to cheer for. You mix that with his story, the fighting family, the traveling to the UK, an opportunity to fight for another world title. That's what I'm leaning on. And Coach Robles, maybe I'm giving his coach too much credit, but there's nothing in Nick Ball's style. Also, I'm kind of playing a little bit of chess here. When the winner of this, you got Carrington, Rafa, Angelo Leo, you got Ray Vargas with this champion in recess. I mean, Figueroa can literally rejuvenate his career with a good performance here. I think he's going to do it. I've been watching his training, his strength and conditioning. He looks switched on. He looks healthy. And this is one of these guys that at his best, if it's a 50-50 fight in my head, and I'm thinking about I don't think he's washed. I think it's been a motivational thing. I don't think it's a physical he's done. So when I think of Figueroa, what he looks like at his best versus Nick Ball at his best, I would still take Figueroa in this fight. Let's look at these odds. And then I'll get to the boys. You guys, you always get to give me like 5 to 10 minutes on the front end to kind of spiel. Let's see where we're at. And then I'll get to the boys. We got Ramirez fight, Dimitri Ansanu fight, Christian Jimenez. I got Jimenez beating Curiel as well. I know you guys are going to ask me. I like Jimenez in that. A lot of you guys are messaging me about Lerone Richards beating Albert Ramirez. I definitely don't see that. I've been covering Albert Ramirez on the channel for a few years. Not a household name, but the dude could crack. He's not on our books yet, but the Turkish kickboxer, former kickboxer, Umet Unal is fighting this weekend. He's always on these undercards of Ramirez, so that's a fun fighter to keep an eye on. And then I still have to tape Andrew Kane, just to let you guys know. I didn't miss any of your messages. All right, here we go. These are the current odds. See, Brandon at a 3-1 dog, mate. I mean, what we're doing here is value playing. What we're doing here is, deductive reasoning. I think a safe bet, if you don't want to pick a side, I think this fight goes the distance. I like the over. I like the distance. And I like it. Those are two separate bets. So I'll do a parlay with, will this fight go the distance? Yes. That's one parlay. I'll build around it. I'll do another parlay, the over. I'll build around it. And then for my dog of the week, the Swindler says dog of the week, I'm taking Brandon Figueroa at plus 280. $100 gets you your money back plus 280 bucks, almost a 3-to-1 dog. So, and Figgy on points is like, come on, this might be my Figgy on points plus 525 is really great value. So I'm gonna see what you guys are talking about. Make sure you're liking the video. Make sure you're subscribing. I see my boy Brandon in the house, Battle Creek, Michigan, somewhere along those lines. Dwayne stylistically, I'm gonna say to my friend the Swindler, Canelo Alvarez is the face of boxing. Let's go, let's go. Still in Mexico, hecho en Mexico. Your birthday soon. It's my birthday soon. I'm a Taurus. To all the fellow Taurians out there, we're getting ready for a big year, a big birthday. My birthday's at the end of April. I will be 44. Not a gray hair yet either, boys. That's blonde. But yeah, it's coming. The grays are coming. All I can do is take care of my mind and then take care of my body. But if we're blessed to see another birthday, praise to be. Birthday soon. Morning, lads. Perth in the house. My boy Tenio. Prejudgment. Who you got now here? Albright, Frank Martin. It's a fun fight to break down. I like both guys. I really like what I saw in both guys. I think that Nahir is trending in the right way. I like how he rebuilt himself. Same thing with Frank Martin. This is a fun fight to break down. This will be a fun fight to watch. This will be a fun fight to film tape. And I'm slightly edging Frank. He has a little bit of that X factor to him, a little bit of a gear to him. So I'm slightly edging Frank, but I like Albright as well. Canelo. Come on, JP. You know he got JP. Figgy, most punches thrown should be on everyone's leg. Yeah, it's sent from Pet. So I'm going to wait until Friday to really dive into those sort of punch props. But yeah, I think if we play our cards right, we could find some really good props, not just a win-loss. You know what I'm saying? Will Nick Ball toss or kick his opponent and get DQ'd? Nick Ball is a bit emotional. Nick Ball, they call him the wrecking ball for a reason. He'll low kick you. He'll throw elbows. He'll headbutt you. He likes putting his head on your chest. But I like how Figgy kind of likes turning his opponent. Figueroa kind of, mate, I like this fight. I wasn't that excited going into film study with this fight. I got to be honest with you. And then the more I watched the Ball, rewatch the Ray Ford fight. I rewatched the Sam Goodman fight. And then I didn't watch I watched the fights that bothered me with Figueroa. The first Fulton fight, I wanted to see what happened. And then the last two, the Joet fight and the Fulton fight. And I was able to deductive reason myself to remove Fulton from his equation, keep the Joet fight. And then we're talking about a guy who's undefeated, who's only lost to one guy. I feel like he was fought a little uninspired against Joet. We're talking about a 29-year-old kid who has an opportunity to be a world champion again in a division that just got a lot of electricity plugged into it. You tell me Figueroa isn't looking at let's say Figueroa wins. Then you got Figueroa, Angela Leo, Shushu, and Rafa. Those are all fun fights. I mean, if Figueroa comes out and turns the clock back to 2021, 2022, I mean, talk about a story. The boxing is filled with, think about Jazza Dickens and Anthony Kakachi. These guys are getting ready to fight. These guys are in their mid-30s. Jazza gets elevated in his mid-30s. Brandon's still on the right side of 30. It was interesting for me to hear so many people who've thrown him away. Kind of like everybody did to Kelly. So many of you guys threw Josh Kelly away as well. And so, once again, I think this same thing with J-Rod. Everyone threw J-Rod away against Sugar Cane. You know what, man? We got to start taking better care of our elders. I think that's what the issue is. We got to start taking better care of that's life philosophy. Wherever you are in the world, if you see a senior citizen today, smile at them. Because if you're fortunate, one day you'll be old. We got to start taking better care of our elders because we just throw them away. I don't want to sell you on them. No. I don't want to sell you on them. I understand why. John, do you think the universe rewards us with another? Oh, dude, we might as well. Hey, I gotta ride the underdog streak while it's here, right? That's another thing. I'm not a superstitious guy, but we're getting we've hit. This would be 4 in a row. And these odds aren't as bad as the J Rod odds. The J Rod odds were wider. The Kelly odds were wider initially when they opened. I think these odds will increase actually towards Fig. I think more money will come on Nick. We'll see. Let's not forget Figgy is from RGV, Rio Grande Valley. Yes. See, that's what I'm. There are variables. There are variables that I feel that people are forgetting about Fig. Like, is it just me or like I think because I'm a contrarian by nature, listening even though Figueroa was on my no bet list, and you guys know that. The longer, if you've been on my channel, you've heard me talk about it ad nauseum about both Figueroas, how I don't bet on them. But I think because I've heard so much disrespect from all the content creators about Brandon, it made me look a little deeper onto like, why is this fight taking place? Does he really have a chance? A guy who shot, a guy who is packed it in psychologically doesn't change camps. He doesn't leave his father. He doesn't uproot everything that got him there. That, like, you know what I'm saying? That means something to me as a coach myself. When you're thinking about a former champion, does he want to be a champion again, or is he just collecting checks? Well, you uproot your entire camp and move camps to another legit camp, and you get an opportunity to fight for a world title. You want to be a champion again. And so, with that in mind, I still think at their best, if you were to take Brandon Figueroa at his best versus Nick Ball at his best, I would take Figueroa 9 out of 10 times, stylistically. A 5'9" slugger who's durable, who has a chin, who has output, who has volume, swag. He has a bit of character to him. Like that's where I kind of, because up until 3 hours ago, I was picking Nick Ball. And 3 hours ago is when I filmed The Stats Don't Lie. And then, rewatching the Sam Goodman. Sam Goodman was the 122 fighter. Sam Goodman was the one moving up to 26. Sam Goodman was the small guy with no power. And Sam Goodman fought Nick Ball in the pocket. Like, he wasn't using the entire ring, not as much as people were expecting. He didn't get stopped. He wasn't even getting bullied. I think there's a storm. I think there's going to be this storm. And what could happen, I'm leaning on the fact that Figueroa jumps out on Ball. I talked about this in my breakdown, how the game plan I would go about it. I would go straight into the fire and start working Nick Ball's body. We've seen him mouth breathe before. I don't know if there's something wrong. Maybe he's spoken on record. Maybe there's something wrong with his nose. I don't know. But in between rounds, you see him kind of breathe. That might just be like a Dricus Duplessis sort of thing for all you UFC fans. He had to have this surgery. He kind of would look more gassed than he really was. And so I would go, and the Nick Ball, he's tiny, so he doesn't have a lot of real estate. But when you watch him punch, he doesn't do things technically. To cut distance, he crosses his feet, right? He throws punches like this. And so I like that sort of bladed, Figgy will be sort of bladed here. I can see Figueroa front foot early, in the pocket early, working the body early, tap, tap, lean on him, force him, cut, typical Mexican style, cut the ring in half, force the fight to happen in 50% of the ring, and limit those explosive movements of Nick Ball. I think this is going to be competitive and a fun fight. And when we're looking at value, I have no problem sprinkling on the dog. The Swindler says, I'm taking Figgy, man. Figueroa plus 275 wrapped with Trey Henderson. OH. My issue with Trey, though, Jake, is that he only had 5 carries last week, 2 weeks ago, because they've been feeding Ramondre Stevenson. So my Super Bowl parlay, I told you guys, I'm doing a prop parlay wrapped around Smith and Jigba. So I'm going Smith and Jigba. I think I might do 7+ receptions, 100 yards, at least 1 touchdown. JSN. OH. The Swindler. We up, JD. We up. How do you see Figueroa winning? Can't see the scenario. So I see him winning output, points, basically doing what he wins, fighting how he wins, aggressively on his front foot in the pocket, outboxing. Look at the volume statistics on Google. Give me 1 second. I put this in my Stats Don't Lie video. I'm trying to search up exit page. Brandon Figueroa is renowned for his exceptionally high volume. So how do you find a path to victory? Volume and output, right? Fire hose punching style, averaging approximately 93 punches per round. He's consistently one of the most active fighters in boxing, with some performances exceeding 100 punches per round. So you asked me output. You know, we mix that output that he has naturally, that hasn't wilted. It's not like he's been getting knocked out. It's not like he's been hitting the canvas. This is a guy, though, with a few bad performances against the same fighter. This is my theory. This is all theory. We'll see how it plays out. You know, if I was 100% right, I'd have my own casino. I'd have the Swindler Casino. But let's see Nick Paul. So the stats I found said about 70 punches per round. This says 93. Nick Ball, high volume puncher, averaged 60 to 70 per round with a heavy focus on, it's all power shots. In his recent title, he averaged over 60 punches landed, 20 punches in specific power. His style of relentless high output pressure. Yeah, so it's going to be an exciting, fan-friendly fight. I'm leaning on Figueroa. Ramirez decision and distance both will be plus money. Yeah, so look, safety bets, boys. Nick, like if you don't want to pick a winner, well, you don't have. If you're Nick Ball fans, pick Nick Ball. It's $1.33 out, right? Prop bets, fight to go the distance in the over. I like both. And like always, I'm putting my dog of the week on. It's not like I'm putting Brandon on a parlay. Brandon's my dog of the week, right? The Swindler says dog of the week. Fight to go the distance. Yes. I mean, a 52% return on fight to go the distance. Brandon's never been stopped. I think he's super durable. I don't see Ball getting stopped. I would, and that $1.52 is more than Nick Ball on the money line. So this is for me. This is what I do. This is what goes into me giving you predictions, guys. Rather than me taking the favorite here, the $1.31, and telling you to take him as the favorite, I could find my underdog of the week at plus 280 and build a ticket around that by itself. And if it loses, it loses. But rather than building the favorite at $1.31 with a parlay, I'm going to take the distance and get better odds. Rather than taking the favorite on the money line, I'm going to build it around will the fight go the distance at better odds at $1.52. So I'm using this on my parlays, just to give you a heads up. Round betting. And as we get closer to the weekend, we'll get better props and we'll start looking at those a little bit more. I have to back a fellow Brandon, especially with the height and reach advantage. Plus, with punch output, it goes the distance. I can even see a draw. Brandons have to stick together. Yeah, man. Well, good luck to you. No way I'm taking Figueroa to beat Ball in the UK. Crazy work. Hey, man. We've seen it happen. I mean, what was Frankie Rod? Frankie Rod coming from Texas. Frankie Rodriguez was a 6-1 dog against Galal Yafai in the UK and got it done. We have examples time and time again. Ball being emotional are green flags for technical fighters. Red flags. Ball being emotional are red flags. I'm in my early 20s. I don't see those till 70s as an adult. If you know what I mean, it's all about energy, mindset, makes someone old, which can be 100%. Mindset's everything. Will, I think you should stay on your Nobel. Liverpool, Liverpudlian. Yeah, I'm gonna have a punt, guys. You know, I'm gonna have a go. We're gonna have a go. Mosby, never a big fan of Figueroa. I've got Ball, especially in the UK. He might even stop him at 220. That's the popular pick. I'm obviously, guys. I'm obviously going out on a limb here. Aussie Pugilist, my guy. Appreciate the super chat. The swindler. Hey, if I helped you in any way, and you could help me in any way, I appreciate it. Thank you, Aussie. When I watched Nick, I was very unimpressed. I agree with you. I thought he was an inside fighter until I saw the tape. He loads all he throws is power shots. He doesn't throw a jab. His footwork is, I don't want to call bad, but if we're coming from a technical perspective, his footwork's atrocious. Day one of doing footwork as a boxer, rule number one, don't ever cross your feet. This dude is crossing his feet, throwing punches, like trying to kind of emulate sort of like what Tyson would do, but Tyson had technical footwork. Tyson would come in and throw over the top. He'd do the classic uppercut hook over the top. What Ball does is he throws these punches kind of running. He's not a pretty looking fighter if we're talking optics. I could have sworn that Doheny and Goodman came up from 22. They did. And TJ was 38 years old when they fought. Frank is throwing him softballs, but figure 100%. Sam Goodman was a 122 pounder. He was supposed to get bullied. And Sam Goodman fought Ball pretty physical when you rewatch it. So Donnie on TV, Mexicans are no. This is what I'm talking about. There are patterns in boxing. The longer you watch boxing, you do see patterns, and we've seen them time and time again. There are patterns in boxing. I'm going to roll the dice with this pattern. If this was you guys have to remember as well, my pick is based on the odds as well. These are value plays. And more importantly, I'm not trying to, whoever said it earlier, I'm not trying to talk, I think it was JP. I'm not trying to talk you out of anything. My goal is to do my research, to put time in with the tape, and then at least cover every possible outcome. One of the best compliments you guys could ever give me is when I'm reading the comment section for my Stats Don't Lie videos, and I see someone say, wow, I didn't know that. Or, I didn't know this. And I'm like, all right, I've done my job. That's my job. Just so you know, my job isn't for me to make you change your bet. My job is to teach, right? Teach. I want with all those videos, I want to educate. I could just be boring and just read off to you off of a script and be like, this has happened, blah, blah, blah. Good puncher. No, I'm telling you a story. Just watch how I do my videos. Like, I take pride in the story side of boxing. So part of telling the story is telling both sides. I can't just give one side without telling the other side. King, the GOAT, my man. What's up? Don't do it ball by decision. Yeah. So look, I could still win the ball by decision bet by picking the fight to go the distance. You know what I mean? So I think part of this is also talking about the strategy of betting. You can have one single fight with multiple outcomes. You know what I'm saying? And because this isn't a fanboy channel, it's not like, let's go Figueroa, fuck Nick Ball, we hate the Brit. No. I'm not a fan of fighters. I'm a fan of the sport. So we could take a look at one fight and bet at least four times on the same fight. And all four will be different bets. And if you have all four on four separate parlays, if one loses, you'll still have three that's live. That's called strategy. It's called fucking strategy. Read a book. You ever see Superbad? He said, why would you say you're 26? He was like, because, you know how many 21-year-olds there are in this town? He's like, it's called fucking strategy. Read a book. Faggle. Fogel. Goodbye. Lerone Richards will survive. Terry Lance. I mean, Crawford beat Burns. One of my favorite fights. When people ask me, what was your favorite Bud Crawford fight? It was the Ricky Burns fight in Scotland. I was actually surprised we got it, even though it was pretty clear. However, I don't think Brandon is doing that to Ball. Yeah, that was a. I mean, Ricky's a legend, man. I was a big fan of Ricky Burns. He like I don't know if he ever got the love domestically in America, but I knew about him. And I was living in L.A. When did Bud fight Ricky? 2000 what 2009, 2010? 2014. Damn, time's a bitch. Yeah, he was coming up. Andre Gorgeous. Remember the Andre Gorgeous fight 2000 in the baseball stadium? He's limited genetically and it shows on tape. My issue with Nick Ball, small hands, doesn't have one punch knockout power, no reach. But the one thing Ball has done really well in his career, he's taken all of those physical disadvantages and he's created this style, right? The wrecking ball style. And so hats off to him. He's one of these fighters that you know what you're getting. Easy to game plan for, guys. When you have a guy who doesn't have when I say this, I don't mean that he can't go into a different gear, but when you have a specific style, some styles don't have levels. It's just this is your style, this is it. All wrapped in, you have three levels all wrapped in one. That's your style. That's a predictable thing to game plan for. If you have a fighter who's visceral, if you have a fighter who's switched on, if you have a good camp, if you have a good coach who can execute a game plan, I think Manny Robles is that guy, man. I think they're going to come in there prepared. I think Figueroa is going to come in motivated. I think he's healthy. He looks healthy. Everything he's saying online, he looks good. And the bigger guy, the longer guy, confident guy, he's going to feel slated. You think this proud kid from Texas is going to go to the UK feeling like he's going to be inferior? Or do you think he's going to go to the UK thinking that he has something to prove? And then if that's the case, do you think Nick Ball's better than him? Like at their best, would you say Nick Ball is a better boxer than Brandon Figueroa? If you had both guys piss and vinegar in their prime. High interest, yo Johnny, check it in. Yeah, we had to put the Swindler hat on because we're picking an underdog. How boring would it be if we just picked all favorites, guys? You know what I'm saying? Like that's not. And then how predictable would it be if we just picked all dogs but never won? Dude, guys, stats don't lie. The receipts are out. We pick dogs and we hit. This is a dog that I'm going to gamble on. It's called gambling for a reason. You know, you put 100 to win $33, or you put 100 to win $300. Burns is very nice, but yeah, 2014. Good story too. That's him on my shoulders. No shit. Actually, that's him on my shoulders from the night. Oh shit, that's you and Bud. Terry Lance on my shoulders from the night. No freaking way, man. So you're in Bud's camp? You're in Bud? Are you from Omaha? No idea. It's a cool photo, man. It's a great photo. I'm gonna go. I want to go back. I'm just clicking on your pro. I see that photo again. Yeah, Crawford's always been one of my favorite fighters to study and watch. He just had the edge he had, like just the meanness. Um, Everything was efficient. Such a joy to watch. Andrew Kane isn't technically skill or crafty, but he's big for 118. I have to do tape, Julius. Have you taped this? Because I woke up this morning with 5 messages about this Andrew Kane fight. Does anybody, you want to come and talk about it? Like, give me another 24 hours so I can do my work. Hearing rumors. Hold on. Hold on. Hearing rumors, Spence and Zoo Hearing rumors, Spence and Zoo. That's why you see the change in rankings. Boxing is better with the base. What? You're hearing rumors that EJ versus Zoo? I'm here for it. With the biggest, the truth. Man down. Put him in the dirt. Man down. Are we serious? Did I miss something? Are people really talking about Zoo and EJ? Water versus Chisora is official. They gave a press conference tomorrow. They are moving. Well, Liam Paro versus Crocker in Australia. Liam Paro versus Crocker in Australia. And then Jai Apataya versus Brandon Glanton. What do you guys think about that? We were high. I mean, I was high on Brandon Glanton going into the fight against the Big Brit. The Big Brit with the big pissed me off. I can't think of his name. They were on the undercard of that was in Wembley. This is the O2. It might have been at the O2 when Glanton fought. Who's the big boy? Looks like a. They call him the gentleman. Looks like a literally like a Mountie officer. And then Glanton had. Yeah, I want to see Jaya Pataya versus Benny, but I don't make the rules. Is there a rematch clause? I'm not sure. If Figueroa fights Ball like he did Neri, do you think he would? Bro, this is the thing. And the reason why I haven't been using the Neri example on this live, I brought the Neri fight up on my breakdown. But the reason why I didn't, because it was 5 years ago. You know what I mean? Because you could easily dismiss the ferocity in a fighter from half of a decade ago. That was in 2021. But the reason why it's still relevant, in my opinion, is because it's not like Figueroa has been beaten up, knocked out, cold, physically damaged. You know, he's never been stopped. Have we seen him hurt? He's durable. He has that in him. Ball is the weakest champion. Do you think he beats Angelo Leo though? I would probably I was high on Angelo Leo because I'm a bit of a pro box loyalist. But in Angelo's last fight, it was close, guys. I think that was the one in Japan. It was close. Ford is better than anyone on Figueroa's resume. Savage like that. Remember, Ray, you know, I thought Ray was killing himself to make 26. I like Ray at 130. Ray really didn't look that good, though, against his first fight at 30 when he fought my guy from Cleveland, Ohio, the Gunner Man, Thomas Matisse. But then his next fight after Matisse, he kind of settled in and looked better. Ray Ford's a beast. Better than anyone on Figueroa's resume. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. Resumes are a tough one. Yeah, Chris Billum Smith. Thank you, Chris. Resumes are a tough one to use to kind of navigate who will win. You know what I mean? It's a perimeter. We have to talk about resumes. We can't just talk, but because timing is everything. When a guy fights a guy, timing is everything in boxing. Carlos Sanchez, John, I'm trying to keep up with you. I'm so glad. Appreciate you guys. Guys, wherever you are in the world, I say welcome. If you're new to the channel, if you haven't joined our Discord or if you haven't resubscribed, the link is pinned. Guys, the way I have the Discord set up, it's an honor system. So you sign up on YouTube, you sign up on Patreon, you get in, and then monthly it renews. So if you've noticed that you're in the Discord, but you see that you don't have a star by your name, it's because you didn't re-sign up. So just click the link for me, and I appreciate it. It helps the channel grow. It helps me a lot. Yeah, Chris Billum Smith, CBS. So the Brandon Glanton, when Glanton was going into the CBS fight, he had a little bit of underlying hype to him. There were some talks like I think he's from Georgia, big puncher, aggressive, and Billum Smith might have been a 50-50 fight, and Chris Billum Smith was taking his best shot and just totally outclassed him. And then you really got to see like, oh, there's levels to this. So when Pete, I think it was announced today that Brandon Glanton's fighting Jai, I was getting messages. A lot of the Aussies don't know who Glanton is. I wouldn't. We're just boxing heads here. We know every fighter. We want to see Jai in fights though. You only get a guy like that. That's why boxing's any pro sport. If a man lives between 70 and 80 years old, the prime of their physical prowess, athletic career, if they're a pro athlete, is so small. The window is so small. So, like, even every single fight for a pro fighter, you lose a little bit. So, like, we want to see these stars, these potential sort of like generational guys that people think Apataya is. We want to see them fight the best. I think it's time for him to fight the best. I mean, I'm not disappointed with if Glanton does go official, I'll watch it. I don't know if this is going to sound controversial. I don't know if I'm 100% sold on the Jai is the boogeyman people think he is. You know what I mean? Like, who would you pick in a fight, Jai or Benavidez, if they fought? But then again, I'm always hesitant with ordaining somebody a boogeyman. You saw it last week. I think in boxing there aren't. I don't think in boxing at the high level there's no such thing as boogeymen. You know what I mean? Because you got a ring, you got a bell, you got two men with two hands. Ding ding. Boy, anything could happen in that bitch. Anything could happen in that bitch. I want to see Inoue versus Ball. Wembley would say, you want to see Inoue versus Ball. That'd be fun. You think we'll see it? That'd be fun. Styles make fights. Ray catches and shoots to trade single shots, and he is similar height to Ball. Yeah. Very small. That's not what Figueroa is going to do. Wilder ices war, eats too many shots. I don't think he's this Deontay is not your little son's Deontay. Like pre-psychedelic Deontay was different. He started doing ayahuasca. He started eating mushrooms. It changes your neurochemistry. He's nice now. We know the issues with his ex-partner, his ex-girl. So like, I don't know. You put old head War Chisora in there. Old head Chisora, boy, he got a chin on him. He could crack. He's a big boy. We'll see, dude. I'm excited. I hope it goes down to see these OGs in there. I think I'll wait until the judges announce because I think that's going to play a big part too. Yeah. There we go. We got one. We got one. We got one of our Johnny, you rotten cheat. How did you know Kelly would beat Bachram? You are a cheater, and we all know it. You must have made Bachram say, Wilson, I like you, bro. I like Wilson. I like Wilson Michaels. And bro, I don't have beef. If you don't know me personally, how could you hate me? I think that's a great comment, dude. It just came down to the stylistic matchup, Michael. Man, it really came down to watching both guys' careers. I've watched Kelly since the amateurs, and I wasn't. You just had to ask yourself how much emphasis did you put in the 7 minutes against Tim Tszyu, and that's really what it came down for me. Knowing what Kelly was capable of, knowing how he rebuilt himself at 154, and then also not really trusting the 7 minutes Bachram had with Tszyu, rather than the fight he had with Jack Colque. And then that's how I came. But could you imagine? I called Bachram, you're not good. Murtazaev, Kelly's in your head. That's funny. Nobody has the balls. I know. And look, Jai's an animal. Jai's scary. He's great. He's one of my favorite fighters. I want to see, part of me saying that I'm not sold on him is pretty much me basically testing fate, the boxing gods. If I say this enough, the boxing gods will make it happen, right? Could you imagine David Benavidez versus Jai, dude? Fuck, dude. You could put that in the middle of Earth. But build a stadium with that sits 1 million people in the middle of Earth. That's like wherever, if you take all the big cities, whatever the media, I'm sure you guys know this. I don't. Somebody smarter than me. What would be like if you took the biggest metropolises in the world? What would be like the center point? Everybody's halfway point to meet. Wherever that is, Build a stadium that sits like 500,000 people and have them fight in Middle Earth, dude. The whole world would watch. That's how much I love boxing. But David Benavidez versus Jai, boy. And every time Benavidez fights, he gets better. Like that performance, say what you want about Anthony Yard. Nobody beats Anthony Yard that way. Nobody. And then you mix that with like how willing Benavidez is to fight you in the wheelhouse. That's the thing he'd have to be wary of, though. He puts his chin right there. He just has to be worried about getting touched by Jai. I thought Zuffa Jai was fighting the Albanian that beat Badu. Oh yeah, am I getting bad info? I got this sent by Jim Cambosis, George's dad. So let me double check now. I forgot I had another screen here that we could just do it together. Yeah, I knew I had that right. Yeah, so George Cambosis, his father, is friends with me we're Facebook friends. He sends me fight news all the time, and he sent me it. See, this one says he's fighting. This one says it's not announced. And this was 10 hours ago. Jai Patel closing in on Brandon Glanton. Okay, I was already told, maybe that's insider info. Pay attention to your screens, I guess. I was told this is official by Jim Cambosis. We'll see. I guess it's still not official yet, but that's what I was told maybe, 10 hours ago. Yeah, Benny. Bro, please let that fight happen. Please let that fight happen, dude. Jai has the power and reach over Benny. I need to see Benny. Yeah. Of course. I want to see because with Benavidez's style and his character in the ring, like I want to see him up against a guy that forces him to go life and death. Like you guys know, I'm a writer, I'm a storyteller, I'm a hopeless romantic. I want to see Benny in a fight in which he is in trouble. He's hurt and he comes back and you get to see that warrior spirit on full display. And then if you could overcome that, my friends, then we have a superstar on our hands. You know what I mean? Boxing with all this money, right? There's so much money, so many more television opportunities happening. It seems like every month. I feel like there's like it's simmering right now with like the potential of a big generational superstar. And a lot of that depends on matchups, adversity. This is one thing that I'm not a Floyd Mayweather hater. You guys know that. I'm a fan of the fighter. I'm a fan of the technician. I'm a fan of the when he was Pretty Boy Floyd, when he was a slugger. He used to be a boxer puncher when he was younger. And I'm a fan of the whole thing. Sometimes I look back though, and like if he would have had a couple Arturo Gatti-esque slugfests, still won, still came on top, but had to come back on the card sort of thing. Not just been rattled, not just been stunned by Shane, not just the Maidana close fights, but like something that was a little bit more cemented in that that like questions had to be answered that never got to be answered because he was so good. I think that's coming, dude. I think with all the talent in multiple weight divisions, with so many television opportunities that are happening more and more and promotions coming out of nowhere, I think we're going to see. I think 2026 is going to be special. It's already been amazing. How great was January? January was off the hook. Ball gets stopped against Inoue. Guys, I mean, I don't know. Inoue is amazing. Inoue's fun. I don't know. Ball has to beat Figgy first. That would be a great fight. Jai was meant to be. Are we just nerds? Got like, does the rest of the boxing community think like this? Like, if we were to go to like, if I were to go from here, I live in Sydney. If I were to go to like my hometown, if I go to Youngstown, right, and I link up with my boy Kelly at his gym, and I'm talking to all the pros at Pavlik's gym, and I say, well, Kelly has a direct connection with Benavidez because he was sparring him when he was younger, so that's a bad example. Does the rest of the world, would they be excited for Jai versus Benavidez, or is that just like a true blue sort of thing? Because that fight is freaking insane to me. Yeah, I question a lot about Wilder, brother. No, definitely didn't get robbed. Murtazaev got outboxed. Murtazaev, he kind of was everything that I said in my breakdown. He doesn't have levels to his game, doesn't have setups, doesn't have a plan B. He tells the entire world what he wants to do with his, lead hook and his backhand. And Josh Kelly just outboxed him magnificently. Dropped him, put him on the canvas. Yeah, Kelly definitely won. And Kelly showed there's levels in that. Do you think Brand has enough power to hurt Ball? See, this is something to hurt. Do I think Figgy has enough power to hurt? I think he does, man. I think he does, and I think it's going to be to the body. I definitely think it's going to be the body. Here's why. When we look at Nick Ball's physical stature, how he fights, he puts that head here, and when he's in your wheelhouse, he wants to put his head on your chest and punch over you, and he's constantly working, tap, tap, constantly working, that sort of thing. Figueroa tends to go a little bit bladed. He's going to be longer, a little bit bladed. I think it's going to be a body shot. I think Nick Ball, with going against a rangier pocket puncher like Figueroa, I think Figueroa could hurt him to the body, and I want him to do it early. I think if Figueroa could get into that get into a firefight early, hurt Nick Ball early to the body, I think he can win an easy decision. Because I think that if he hurts Nick Ball early, it's gonna force Nick Ball to make some adjustments. I don't think Nick Ball has it in his game to make adjustments. I think he only knows that one temperature. Baccarat did not get right. Yeah, he got domesticated. He did. Murtazaev got domesticated for sure. You could see it in his face. You could see it in between rounds. And it was that was a fun, exciting fight to watch. Just because of the story, the romanticism of the sport, everything that was on the line. We knew what Josh had to do to win. We knew what Bachram needed to do to win. And, all of us in the know are watching it unfold. And it was a very dramatic fight. Last weekend was ridiculous with fights, man. We got spoiled. I had a hangover from the fights. Still, man, I still think the Carrington versus Castro fight for me. I watched it twice already. Shushu showed, man, if you had any doubts about Shushu, he showed his will. He was like, all right, Castro, I'm gonna fight you exactly how you want me to fight you and fight you in the only way that you could win. The only way you could beat me is to knock me out, and I'm going to give you the opportunity by punching with you. Fucking hell, dude. This is Carrington, boy. That was the moment that I was talking about. That was a moment which draws new fans to a fighter when he got stunned a bit. He didn't back up. He got rocked, boy. Recovered, didn't go to plan B. And stayed right in that wheelhouse and was, all right, you got that backhand. I'm going to try to time you and out. Boom, it got you. Damn, it was a gorgeous thing to watch. Carrington's timing, man, and how sharp he is. Even getting rattled, he didn't crumble at all, dude. That shows a gumption. If you're unfamiliar with the word, quote, gumption is sort of like the willingness a quarterback standing in the pocket against a really aggressive front four that's blitzing him, play and play again. He's getting sacked, but he has the gumption or the moxie to stay there, savviness, to stand in the pocket like a half second long, knowing he's going to get fucking hit just to catch his receiver cutting across the middle on that post route, boy. That's gumption. Gumption's the fighter like Carrington after getting rocked to still stay there and still trust in his tools and his power to still punch with a guy who Bruce could have easily used the entire ring and danced and recovered and won an easy decision. Nah, he was like, I'm gonna stop this dude. Mexican. I'm not gonna say all of them do. You know, I don't think it'd be fair to speak in absolutes. But there is a pattern. There's a pattern there. And we're not talking about a 35-year-old Brandon Figueroa. This isn't a 35-year-old Brandon. This is a 29-year-old Brandon Figueroa, guys. Nick's 28. Brandon's 29. 5'9", 5'2", 72.5-inch reach. What, like you can't even find Nick Ball's reach. Even the output punches, statistically, Figueroa's output hasn't diminished. He got outboxed and was made to look bad against one guy, Fulton. I'm banking on the fact that was just a bad matchup for Figueroa. I'm banking on the fact that I've said it time and time again. Manny Robles, I think he's an underrated coach. I think the game plan is going to be on point. I think Figueroa has more skills. I think he's more technical, and I think he's live as hell. Super live. The Swindler says, let's go. Singapore, maybe. Would that be the middle? Do you know that Singapore, a little fun fact for you boys, there's only, I think, 2 countries in the world to where if you're born there, you have a universal passport. Singapore is one of them. So if you're born in Singapore, your passport can get you anywhere in the world. I'm pretty sure the Singaporean passport even gets into North Korea. Somebody fact check me. I can fact check myself. Let's check. Yep. Come on, boys. You know who to trust. Uncle Johnny, the swindler. The Singapore passport is currently ranked as the most powerful in the world for 2026, granting visa-free or visa-on-arrival access to 193 destinations globally, maintaining the top spot for 3 consecutive years. As a red biometric passport, it offers unparalleled international mobility. We need to find a little Singaporean lady. See if my girl wouldn't mind adding an extra one. I'm kidding. You did. And yeah, you did. And it's why high interest. It's why we had so much action last week. I didn't break down the fight. I had that fight. I did a prop, but I didn't invest too much interest in it. And Jakob Bank looked the real deal. And William Skull, I'm pretty sure it was you, high interest. Didn't you say on the live that William Skull is going to be disinterested because he got that Canelo money? And when I watched it, that's exactly what happened. If you want to watch a really uninspired performance, watch William Skull fight against Bank. You know what? Don't watch it. He got that Canelo money, and he was like, I'm good. Benny can beat Usyk at heavyweight. Oh, shit. Really? What do you guys think about this statement? That's a bold statement. I mean, Usyk is 38. I just question Benavidez's, fucking heavyweight, bro. Usyk, I don't know, man. Blue collar, my guy. We are an hour in. It's better late than never. We're floating currently between 40 and 60 in the line. Yesterday, on a Tuesday, we were at 70. So we're growing. I appreciate the boys. I should start staying on longer. I know some of the live streamers that I watch some nerd. This one dude live streams. He talks like politics. He live streams for like 5 hours, but he's drinking a bunch of caffeine. And I have another job. I have my real career I have to do. So an hour to hour and a half is kind of my sweet spot. But wherever you are in the world, like this video, guys. If you are in the Discord, could you do me a favor and check if you've resubscribed? Because some of you guys have YouTube settings set to where it does it monthly, and some don't. And it's kind of an honor system. I do have a list of the guys who need to resubscribe, But if you're on the live, you could tell if you have the star and it's missing, just resubscribe. The link is pinned in the comment section. I appreciate it. And if you're here from Patreon, the Patreon subscription just carries over as well. If Benavidez is the first person to stop Zerto, it is going to make the Jai fight. So I agree. I agree. God, we haven't even talked about the Zerto fight. I think that's a fun fight. When is that? March? But does Brandon ever sit down on his punches? Volume guy. Volume guy. When you have a guy with the style of Figueroa, I'm assuming you're talking Figueroa, not Brandon Glanton. When you're talking about Figueroa and somebody with that style, sitting down on your punches is actually a technique to use situationally. So, you're using your volume as normal, you're out angling, you're scoring, pressuring, trying to melt your opponent. It's only when you feel something or see something that you're going to sit down. You'd only sit down if you catch a guy stunned, boom, and then I'm going to sit on something. It's not like you're throwing everything to sit on. So like sitting down on punches, it's sort of it's not a cut and dry sort of statement. It depends on the with Figueroa's style. He often does it if he sees you hurt or in trouble. Then he'll start sitting on something because then it's a different energy system. And these guys are all about pace. These guys are all about output. Ball has no back foot game. Great point, Julius. It's kind of like my little my little betting angel. Whenever I hear you back some sort of pick, because the best part about our group is we don't. It's not about us always agreeing. It's about us figuring out, trying to be that archaeologist, trying to find our dogs, find our wins. There's a lot of things that Figueroa that about Ball's game that doesn't sit right with me. When he punches, his defense just folds. When he cuts the distance, his footwork crosses, which is like rule number one. It's like a mortal sin of coaching. Don't ever cross your feet. That's literally day one stuff. He does that. But he does a lot of these things, breaks a lot of these rules because he has to, because he's small. Doesn't have big hands. Like when you and why that matters. Having big hands, man, punch power, punch placement, accuracy. Not a one punch guy. I think he's susceptible to the body. I'm liking Figueroa's chances at working that body, breaking him down to the body. Long live boxing, great weekend of fights. Yes, we have. It's the best sport in the world. Best sport in the world. Shoe dig. He did. He did. And what did man? He fought. That was that performance. That was that performance I thought he needed. Shoo, and he got it. Nick Ball. So if Nick Ball's a 65-inch reach, what is fit? What's Figgy? 72, 74? Seventy-two and a half. 72 and a half, 65. So, yeah, 5'9", 5'2" is the big one, if you ask me. 29 years old. Let's have a look at the resume since we're here, boys. This Joet Gonzalez fight was his first fight with Manny Robles. Let's remind people, too, who Manny Robles is. Robles stable is booming. Andy Ruiz returns with Manny, recently a former heavyweight champion. That's 2025. Look at my man, getting all cleaned up. Dude, Boacek looked good, man. I talked about it. I talked about it. Oh, here's. Dude, chin down, head down, looking big, looking thick. Dude, that he doesn't, man. Figueroa, he doesn't look washed to me. He kind of looks like Xander a bit there. When he angled off, I was like, is that Zayas? He's looking big here. This was 2 weeks ago. Junto, Cardenas, Boachuk. I forgot he left Benavidez Sr. I forgot Diego. Wow, Diego looks in great shape. Resendez, look how big Resendez. Dude, these boys look massive. Look how big. They make Boachuk look little. Resendez is mad. Dude, how the hell did he make. He looks like a heavyweight here. But yeah, so, I mean, what'd you guys think of Boachuk the other night? He looked great. Boachuk's another guy we kind of threw away. We kind of threw away saying that he was shot, the fight with Brandon Adams, both times. But, dude, there are similarities now. Think about Boachuk, the 2 fights against Brandon Adams. Didn't look good, right? Maybe that was just one of these things that bad stylistic matchup. Then he has the fight with Michael Fox, and then he came out against Butev and just looked durable as ever, determined as ever. He still won a close fight. It was close. It could have went either way, but he didn't look wilted. He didn't wilt at all. So now you got a Brandon Figueroa, just like Boachek. 2 losses to the same guy. Fulton, maybe that's a bad matchup for him. Came back in another fight. Joet Gonzalez, Michael Fox, didn't look that good. People wrote him off. And, both coached by Manny Robles. I don't know, boys. I'm starting. I don't know, boys. I think we up. I think Figueroa's up, boys. Random Johnny, what do you think about Kraft Belichick Nugget? Mom, if you're listening, earmuffs. Fuck them cats. I hate me some Bill. I'm a Cleveland Browns fan. I'm a Browns fan. We only have time for Cleveland Browns player. I don't Bill Belichick. He left us in the middle of the night. Belichick was a Browns coach before. I ain't got time for Kraft and all them little games. I don't be doing all that little. I'm glad they didn't get in. Nah, he should be in. Belichick should definitely be in the hall. Kraft, I'm sure it's political. Them cats. Okay, I don't care about them cats. I don't know. I got Usyk. Yeah, Usyk's tough. How do you bet against Usyk, right? Benny versus Appetite. That will be the fight. Can we get it, please? Manny, I'm glad you brought Mehmet up. Mehmet Unal's our guy. I've been nobody. This was up until 2 fights ago. So 2 fights ago, which would have been last February, I first played the Mehmet Uno knockout prop. People, who's that guy? I was like, bro, I know this dude from kickboxing. He was a Turkish kickboxer who could crack. And he's been getting. I'm gonna play the knockout prop. I tend to, if I have a fighter and I keep hitting a prop with the fighter, I'm gonna play it. I haven't seen it yet. I know he's fighting. He's on the undercard. He's been fighting on the undercards. The Albert Ramirez, Venezuelan light heavyweight. Albert Ramirez is another guy, man, that we've been winning money on. Figueroa to win over 10.5. Come on, dude. I'm seeing a lot of little. I'm finding a lot of connections and signs. I think Figueroa is gonna win. There's parallels with Boachek, which is crazy. Both coached from the same guy, or the resumes. People, dude. Boachek's still not done. That style, freaking shots off. Even though I lost money, I'm glad he won. He's so good for boxing. That style's a nightmare to deal with. Yeah. Ray Vargas. And Ray's still a champion in recess. Ray's legit. That was a while ago too. Was that 2024? Seems like a long, long time ago. When did he fight Ray? 2023. That was at Riyadh. That was that draw. Yeah, Ray is 5'10", 71-inch reach. Good call. Different style. How would you consider? Damn, what happened? Why Ray Vargas? He hasn't fought since that fight. Is he injured? Anybody know what's going on with Ray Vargas? I know. In the rankings, he has that asterisk by him, champion in recess. Did you ever see my plank bet, Devin? Nah. Put it up in the Discord. Money line. I think so. I think we're swindling again, boys. Figure plus 500. Bro, this is what I'm saying. And like, look, I think our entire group here, our entire community is getting better and better week in and week out at value playing, finding value. Because we've grown a lot as a community with our strategy of betting. Granted, we still keep our OG long money line parlay, which we hit 10-legger this past weekend. We're back on track. But we're think about it, we're finding more wins week in and week out, looking a little bit closer at these odds, looking a little bit closer at sort of like patterns of statistics of like, when last 2 weekends ago when Julius hit on Raymond Murataya to beat Andy Cruz, not a lot of people took Murataya. And when Julius came on the live, his reasoning was like, hey, man, this is another one of these guys, fast track to a world title, not a lot of pro fights sort of thing. People were sleeping on Murataya and, so things like that. And, the Mexican fighter traveling to the UK. It's a thing. I mean, we can pull up examples in the last 5 years of this happening. Just last year, we had Frankie Rod versus Galal Yafai. Galal wasn't a world champion, but he was an Olympian. He was a +5. He was a Frankie Rod was a +400 dog in that fight. Tell me, is that real? Oh, God damn. I don't like that trade at all. See, it's tough being a Cleveland fan, man. God damn it. We get 98-year-old James Harden, never going to pass the ball. Man, can't we get a young dude out? I don't like that trade at all. Who'd we give up? Did they trade Garland? Did they trade Garland? Is that what they got rid of? On that note, I'm going to have to get out. See you, boys.